We have one NBA playoff game tonight. It's between the Nuggets and the Suns. DraftKings contributors Kenny Ducey and Julian Edlow, and Rotowire NBA editor Nick Whalen here to rip through some of the best bets for this one. Suns are heavily favored at minus 250 on the money line to defend their home court. Not the best odds to bet. So what's another way to approach this one if you do think the Suns will get it done, Jules?
Well, Emerson, this is why they created spreads. When one team is supposed to win by a lot and you don't want to bet on it, you can bet on the spread at a more reasonable number. This particular game doesn't jump out to me. I liked the Suns a lot in the series. I thought the best way to bet them, I didn't necessarily want to lay any games, but just the Suns to win game one and win the series was minus 155. I think Shirag and I gave that out on the show on Monday night, and that's in strong shape. At this point, if you like the Suns, I would back them just on the spread. There have been 49 NBA playoff games so far, and the winner has covered in 46 of them. So spreads, winners, they've been the same thing so far. I don't know if the Suns will necessarily be a play for me. But if you like them, yeah, you're not doing 230 money line unless you like them as a strong parlay piece. You're just going right for that spread.
All right, Kenny, what's your strategy here, bud?
Yeah, I'm going with the Suns here to cover the 5.5. Look, I just think the Nuggets, the fact that they're playing without Jamal Murray right now is really catching up to them. And when you look at what happened in the opening round series win against Portland, what did the Blazers do? Well, they didn't really do much of anything on either end, but especially on the defensive end. They were just letting Nikola Jokic do whatever he wanted, and that's just not the same story here against the Phoenix Suns team that had one of the best defenses in the NBA. He's found it a little more difficult to bang down low with DeAndre Ayton, and I just think that in general, this Nuggets team is facing a little bit of adversity for the first time in a little bit because they cruise at the end of the season when a lot of these teams like the Suns didn't really care. And they were looking to claim a higher seed. So I think that the Nuggets have some stuff to figure out. I don't think Austin Rivers is going to continue to be one of the best point guards in the NBA playoffs. And I think that, again, that position specifically is going to hurt them, the backcourt, when you look at the significant advantage that Phoenix has. I just think that they're going to absolutely roll here. Maybe when we get to Denver in the altitude, maybe Phoenix drops a game, but I think this could be a sweep.
Hey, Nick, you're chasing that heavy money line, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to stay away from the money line just because of the number. Obviously, not a lot of value there. I'm with these guys. I don't mind taking the spread minus 5.5 tonight. You're getting that at minus 110. If you want to get a little bit more creative on the DraftKings Sportsbook, you can go DeAndre Ayton to have a double-double, plus the Suns win the game at plus 150. Ayton had 20 and 10 in game one. You can get Chris Paul to score at least 16 points, plus the Suns to win at plus 175. I thought he had his best game of the entire playoffs in game one. He has 23 assists over his last two games alone. I think that shoulder's starting to look a lot more healthy. And then, like Jules alluded to, you can start to look at some of the longer term bets. It gets a little dicey when you're trying to, predict the correct score of the series, but you can get Phoenix to win in 5 games at plus 250, Phoenix to win in 6 at plus 425, Phoenix to sweep at plus 450. So if you do have a strong inkling toward any of those results, there is a decent amount of value there on the DK Sportsbook.
Nick, the total for this one set at 223 in favor of the over or under?
I think I'm in favor of the over. Game one went over that number fairly easily, but that was thanks to 122 points from the Suns. Denver didn't really do a ton of the heavy lifting in game one. The Nuggets offense completely collapsed in the second half after what I thought was a really good start. They jumped out midway through the first quarter. They were up double digits in that game. And then in the third, the Suns go on that 16-0 run, a run that eventually became 42-14. And at that point, the game was pretty much over, and the Nuggets really didn't stand a chance for a lot of the fourth quarter. Phoenix had an offensive rating of 129 in game one. That probably comes down a little bit, but I also think we see a better effort from Denver. Like Kenny alluded to, not a great Jokic game in game one. Michael Porter Jr. played okay. Mike Malone said after the game that he thought, Porter wasn't moving all that well down the stretch, which is a little bit concerning. Definitely something to keep an eye on heading into game two. But I think we get a better Jokic game, assuming he's healthy, a better Michael Porter game. And then we're certainly going to get a better Monte Morris game, who went 1 for 10 from the field in game one.
Kenny, Suns shot 54% from the field in game one, so kind of feels like this could be a high-scoring series here.
Yeah, it definitely could. I still think that this total is a little bit too high for me to take, though, Emerson. And when you look at the way that this game was played, the game one, the pace in this game was set at 94 pace rating. The Suns, they grinded out a lot of games like this early in the year. They had a little bit of a strange part of the year where they didn't play defense and played really fast-paced basketball. But on the whole, this is what they like to do. Chris Paul likes to slow this game to a halt. They like to control this game. They like to have some long half-court possessions. I think that's what we're going to see tonight. And again, when you look at maybe a little bit of a regression here for the Suns shooting, I think that this is a good recipe for an under. I also like, Nikola Jokic to be a focal point of this offense, which would mean fewer threes for the Denver Nuggets. I do think that, the pace in this one's going to dictate going to be dictated by the Suns, and it's going to dictate how these totals go. And I think this one's an under.
Jules, you back in the over or the under?
Yeah, I actually like the over here. I think we're getting a little bit of value because of the Lakers the Suns first round series against the Lakers, which was grinded out games. And like Kenny said, Chris Paul taking over in the half court, going against LeBron. That was kind of a little bit of a throwback series with a couple of older ball handlers who have been in the league for a while. The Nuggets are 6-1 to the over in the postseason. Those overs have hit by a combined 60 points. I think their style of play, their defense kind of speeds the Suns up. So early on in this series, this was 221 and a half in game one. It's going up. I think it's eventually going to hit a reasonable price where we can't back the overs, but I still think there's some value here. And we're going to see some points given the way Denver's playing defense. They will speed the Suns up. They'll score some points, maybe a little bit of shooting regression. But like we said, Monte Morris is a guy that was 1 for 10. The Nuggets can hit more shots, maybe not get blown out this time around, even if the Suns cover, and put some points on the board.
Kenny, I just heard you screaming no. Is everything okay?
Yeah. No, I thought I muted my microphone. I'm so sorry about that. Live television,
yeah.
Right?
We would tell you if you did.
Does this have to do with you being a new dog dad?
It sure does. She loves to eat the doorstop.
Okay. Yep. Got to watch out for those puppies, man. They will eat just about anything and everything. You will learn. Can you tell us, though, since you are back in your chair, is there a player prop that interests you in this game two matchup?
Yeah, I continue to fade Austin Rivers here, but under 9.5 points sounds pretty good to me when you consider the safety that you get, really, where Austin Rivers isn't doing a whole lot besides shooting threes in this series. And I think that, again, we're just not going to see this second unit for the Denver Nuggets that much. And I think that, again, Monte Morris has sort of asserted himself as the best point guard on this team. Facundo Campazzo gave the Denver Nuggets incredible minutes in game one. So I do think that this one is not going to go the way of Austin Rivers. I am once again taking the under 9.5, his under on his point scoring prop. I just think that this is essentially, is Austin Rivers going to hit more than 3 threes? And the answer is no. This Phoenix team is too good defensively, and he's too not involved in Denver's game plan tonight.
Julian, which player prop in this game catches your eye?
Yeah, so I'm looking at Chris Paul, who obviously proved people wrong and showed that he is healthy. The 36 minutes, 8 of 14 from the field, 21 points, 11 assists. There's a couple different ways we can go here. In my best bets article for game one, I wrote up that Chris Paul, who averaged 1.5 3-pointers made during the regular season on 3.7 attempts, because he wasn't shooting it much because of the shoulder against the Lakers, his 3-point prop was set at just over or under a half a 3-pointer. The over was juiced to minus 167. I'm not seeing it up yet on DK Sportsbook. So obviously I kind of broke the system there by giving out a play. The whole world jumps on it after reading best bets as usual, and it cashes. So we'll see when it comes up. Maybe it'll be something that we can play again at a half. I'm a little more hesitant if it comes out at 1.5. But one other thing you can do with Chris Paul, like his assists are set at 9.5. The over is plus 110. He obviously got there in the first game. But a Chris Paul double-double is plus 150. So we assume he's going to get there in points. It really just comes down to the assists, and this is a better way to get, plus money on those assists. So the double-double at plus 150 stands out to me.
Nick, how about a player prop from you, please?
I like Monte Morris over 1.5 made threes. This number, it's at plus 125, which for a prop like this is pretty good. Feels like a little bit of an overreaction to how poorly he played in game one. Like we said, 1 of 10 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. This is a guy that had 9 made threes over his previous 3 games combined, took 9 threes in one of those games against Portland. Not a guy who's, typically this super high volume 3-point shooter, but they're going to need, a lot better effort from him in game 2. And I think he plays a lot more minutes in game 2 as well. So, at plus money, I do like Monte Morris to hit at least 2 threes.